Today on the workbench I have a new project here. This is a Walthers FPH40 or F40PH. So, but I've kind of started on this. I pulled the screws out. There's 4 screws that take this apart right here. And somebody had sent this to me to put a decoder in, and so it came in. There's screws missing. You can move it around a little bit, and I don't know if you can hear that or not, but the motor's loose in this thing. Of course, the couplings are bad. And I don't know what else is wrong with this thing. And it will run on DC because it is just DC. It's kind of spit and sputtered. And normally I don't like to work on things like this. But I told this guy I would do it for him. So I am going to convert it to DCC. So we're going to start taking this thing apart, and we'll see if we can fix some of the problems. Yeah, not even going to fool with. We'll just cut our wires off here for the lights. And then we've got our 2-track pickup wires, because I'm not going to reuse this board. There's the motor wires. More track pickups. But what we'll end up putting in this, we'll remove this board too. But what we'll do is put a decoder buddy in this. Somebody must have worked on this before, because they've ground down this little board. Maybe it's factory, I don't know. But they've ground the screws down on the edges. I don't know if you can see that shiny part there or not. So let's hope we can get these out. Because we won't be reusing them. That off of there. So that board right there is junk. So you can see wasn't a screw one holding the motor in. So this gentleman told me the thing ran well on DC. And that was the first thing I did test it. But anyway. So it's got tape here holding this in. I guess these are the screws for the motor. So we've got 3 out of the 4 screws. I wonder if any of them will go back into the motor itself. Well, they need to be longer, I think, but those are pretty much. Of course, those are little rubber mounts right there, and they pull off. But I think I'm going to have to find new screws for this thing. Alright, so we've got it apart. We know what most of the problems are. I think that's most of the problems. So I'll take care of those, get the motor back in it, and then start on the install. Alright, I'll be back here after I find some screws. Okay, I found screws for the motor. We got that, I put that back in. So now, what we'll end up doing is we'll take this Decoder Buddy Tiny and we'll set it right there on top of the motor. And so before we do that, I want to clean the motor off with some alcohol, and I'll clean the bottom of the Decoder Buddy off. Put the lid back on the alcohol, and we'll get out our double-sided tape. Put that right in the center. Pull that to me a little bit so it's a little closer to me to see. Okay. So there's our Decoder Buddy mounted. Now, turn on the soldering iron. I'm going to leave them that long, and I can run it right around the board. There's that. And I'm hooking these up to the motor pads. Let's see. Oh, this will get sound in it too. So. So there's our motor hooked up. Go ahead and I think 10 those. That way I'll have that be ready to go when I one, and that's a track pickup. There's the rear light negative, rear light positive. Another track pickup. Then up to the front, clean all that stuff off. Now I'll hook my track pickups. I have 9 minutes left on my SD card, so I'll get this done. Then I need to download some stuff onto my computer. Got a new set of tweezers here the other day. These are Nipex or Nipex, and they're carbon fiber. And I think they're supposed to be heat. Yeah, they're not heat resistant because I burnt that. But anyway, I thought I'd try them. They're awkward to hold. But with the metal tweezers, I end up pinching that wire sometimes, and the heat will transfer through the wire. Yeah, these have an awkward kind of a feel to them. Okay, so there's that much of it done. I think I'll put on a decoder and test it just to see. So I'm down to 6 minutes left on my SD card, so I'm going to take and test this thing, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've still got 5 minutes left here on my card. It did work. I did test it. It did work. I do have the motor leads backward. Yep, I still find those new ones awkward. Okay, so there, I've reversed my motor leads on the Decoder Buddy. So we are good to go. Looks like that wire is touching a little bit. Get that off the flywheel. Let's see. Okay, with my 4 minutes of SD card left, I'm going to go ahead and tin these speaker pads, and then I'm also going to tin the Keep Alive pads. And I did install the TCS KA1 Keep Alive right there, so I've already got it fluxed and ready to go. And clean that off. And then we can, our black is the ground. And then the blue is the positive. So there, we have the Keep Alive, the Decoder Buddy, and I've changed the motor wires, so this thing is ready to go basically. I've just got to put the speakers and the lights in it, and I've got 2 minutes left on my SD card. Alright, Now I'll be back after a while. Alright, we're back here, and I've done a few things off camera. I've taken 2 scale sound system speakers, and I've got one here in front of in the cab, and then I've put one here in the back, and I wasn't sure this was going to fit, so I wanted to mount it all up and see, so I just left it there. But I do have it wired, and it's wired in series. So we'll go ahead and we'll finish installing the speakers. All we got to do really now is just wire it up. But, man, I just can't get used to that new set of tweezers. So I've got the speakers in, the speaker or speakers, the Keep Alive. Now we're down to the LEDs, and I've got a set here. These are 3mm warm white bulbs, and I do need to put a piece of heat shrink across that just to, yep, that'll work. I want to close that little gap up. For any light bleed that we may get. So that's one, and I believe that piece is not big enough. Yep. Cut that. Now we'll try and get this piece on here. Go up and over. All right, I'll cut that off. And then we can put these in, and these will go into the factory holders. Yeah, that'll make it easier. There we go. Pull that back just a little bit. And I'll have to glue that down. But we've got one to put here in the back. Let me turn this around. Should have done this off camera. Yep. That'll make it easier. Well, there the lenses came out. Well, I may take some Bondic and make lenses. All right, I'm going to fix this off camera. We'll be back. Okay, we're back and ready to make our final connections. So we've got our negative for our front light. And we've got our positive. And then the same in the rear here. Get my tweezers. Actually, get some of that out of the way first. So there's all of our connections. Now I just need to open up the decoder. We'll stick that in and we'll be done. That thing's still got power on it from that Keep Alive. And I find that amazing because I've been away from this thing for about 5 hours. So now, here's our last step. I'm going to try this out, and then we'll come back with a side view and up on the turntable. Alright, we've got this up on the turntable. We've got it all back together and complete. I mean, this was a pretty straightforward project, and I did do some of it off camera, which you've seen me do before. The speakers in series, that's no big deal. Made up the lights and the resistors off camera, that's no big deal. I've done that in plenty of videos. So our final product has come out, and you know, it's got two basic lighting functions: the headlight front and rear, and you know, the 2-scale sound system speakers make it sound really good. The KA1, with just the sound and the lights going, I can get about 15 seconds out of it. So let's plug it in and let it run through its startup. So there, we've got it started. There's our horn. Got our bell. This has all the normal functions, nothing big. Short horn. Of course, we've got our grade crossing and our straight to 8. So all the normal functions, sound functions. So I won't run through those. But yeah, it sounds really good, and it runs really well. You know, when we first started it, the motor was loose. Actually, it wasn't screwed in at all. So I found some new screws and put that back together. Let me turn there's the headlight. So yeah, that's a completed project. So, thanks for watching.